96.5 WKLH, it's Craig and Sandy.
Looking forward to October 1st when Alice Cooper returns to Milwaukee, to perform at the BMO Harris Pavilion. Here to tell us more about what to expect at the show, Alice Cooper is on the phone.
Hello.
Hey, Alice, how are you?
Hi, Craig. I'm imagining this is Craig, and Sandy is probably the other one.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
What are you up to now? What have you been doing? You haven't started the tour yet. How have you been spending your time?
Well, the funny thing is I'm working on, the Detroit album. Mm-hmm. We were very surprised that debuted at number one. So we have the Detroit album that I've got to somehow fit in 2 or 3 songs into the show that's already a set show because we weren't expecting it to be that big of an album. And at the same time, we've been on stage for a year and a half now.
Yeah.
So we're going to be going into rehearsal, and we'll probably spend about 2 or 3 days into rehearsal. But this band is so good that, we'll run through it twice, and they'll know it all. It's me that has to remember all the moving parts.
And stay safe.
My show, if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, it could be fatal.
Yeah.
I always tell my band, I go, look, the 3 things I can totally guarantee. I said, you're going to get paid, you're going to see the world, you're going to get stitches.
Oh!
or broken ribs in your case.
Well, yeah, it's being a physical show, a very physical show and a very theatrical show. There are things moving on and off all the time. And, if you're not in the right place, you may be in the wrong, really in the wrong vicinity of Alice, who doesn't use rubber swords or rubber knives up there.
That explains why you accidentally stabbed yourself?
Yeah, actually, that was during, I may have been drinking, okay? I'll put it that way. And it was back in about 1973, 74, when I was definitely drinking. I quit drinking 38 years ago.
Wow.
It was just one of those things where it was foggy, and on stage we had all the fog going on, and da-da-da-da, and I go to stick the sword in the stage, and was looking the other way, and it went right through my thigh.
Oh!
And I sat there, and I let it go, because it was a dueling sword. Actually it belonged to Errol Flynn.
Wow.
And so I left it in my leg because if you've already gone through the pain, now at least it'll pay off. When the fog clears, it's in my leg, and it's kind of. Now the audience thought it was a trick.
Oh.
They figured I somehow put the thing in there. The band happened to know that we didn't do that trick, and that was really in my leg. The adrenaline on stage, you don't really feel it that much. I pulled it out, like the swashbuckling villain that I am. And I didn't feel it. Did the rest of the show. At the end of the show, of course, when the adrenaline goes away, you go, ow! Oh, it was so sore. I said, I'm going to be able to do the show tomorrow night, but I'd be limping. And the next night, I wasn't limping at all.
Because that adrenaline kicked in again?
Oh, yeah, the adrenaline is the fuel. Bands that think that they need drugs or alcohol to get high on stage. You get high on adrenaline. The adrenaline of that audience and the excitement of your songs and the fact that the audience is reacting to them and then especially an Alice Cooper show where it's all the visuals on top of it. You can't get bored with it.
And we are ready to see you here in Milwaukee.
It's Milwaukee, by the way.
That's right.
That's Algonquin for the good land.
Thank you for the refresher. We love you here in Milwaukee. You're such a great ambassador. I feel like on October 1st, we should get the Milwaukee mayor to have a proclamation, Alice Cooper Day.
Well, that's great. Maybe they should save it to Halloween, but I'll be there on October 1st, though. The Midwest is always the best rock and roll audience in the whole. We've played all over the world. Midwest America, Detroit, and Milwaukee, and Chicago, that's the best rock and roll audiences.
How will coming out of the pandemic, missing all of that adrenaline, how will that change your show? Because I saw you at Wisconsin State Fair a few years ago. You brought Frankenstein and the guillotine. You were in the straitjacket. Is that all coming out again? And will there be any other surprises?
Out. Ooh. Oh, yeah. There's always surprises. There's the show is set, but I also leave the show kind of open. There's a certain percentage of the show open to be improvised. So you never know what's going to happen, and sometimes the night before something happens on stage that's a mistake that works, and you go, well, we keep that in.
And that improvisation is where the magic happens.
I think that's the most fun part of it. Whatever happens up there, you have to have fun with it. And at the same time, but the show is going to be all the hits, a lot of deep cuts, and some surprises. real Alice Cooper fans they know we're going to do 18 and School's Out and,
Right.
Poison, those songs. But then every once in a while, we'll do a song and they'll go, oh my gosh, you never thought I'd ever hear that song on stage.
What about It's Me? Can you bring that back anytime?
That's a really, really good song. I know I wrote that with
Jack
one of
Blades,
the
right?
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Jack Blades, who actually I knew in Phoenix before he moved there. Our kids went to the same elementary school together.
Wow.
And Jack and I are good friends. So that song we wrote together for that album, and it was really, really fun to work with him. Jack's a good guy.
Yeah, that's a great album. I think that's one of the underrated. I mean, it did really well, but it's one of those albums that people may have forgotten about. But The Last Temptation, that's one of my favorites.
It's one of the more complicated albums, only because I was telling a full story.
Yeah.
About a kid that wasn't going to give in to temptation, and totally frustrating the showman, who was sort of like an evil character. Because the showman totally expected the kid to give in to all of this stuff, and he doesn't. And it was kind of a metaphor of, kids, you don't have to give in to everything that you're offered out there in the world.
And that's a good message. And you had that song, was it Lost in America? It's such a raw, honest, and open song that I think a lot of people connected with.
Well, yeah, that song is one of my very favorite songs. In fact, that song gets revolved in and out of the show all the time. And we always do that after Be My Lover. That goes right straight into that. And audiences love that song. I think it's you can't get a girl because I ain't got a car, ain't got a car because I ain't got a job, ain't got a job because I ain't got a car, so I'm looking for a girl with a job and a car.
It's simple. It's brilliant. It just rocks. And it's great that you have such a presence on stage, Alice, that you pull that off. I mean, that's a song that an 18-year-old punk rocker could sing. And it's a song that you, with all of your presence on stage, absolutely everybody's singing along with you going, yeah! Those are universals.
It's one of those things like 18. 18 is a song that that song's 50 years old. And if you play it for an 18-year-old right now, he goes, oh, that's me. So that's what makes an anthem,
How does that feel for you, that's part of your legacy?
That's something that you strive for. I think every band has got one song that they'll always be connected to. I mean, as many great songs as the Rolling Stones had. When you think of the Stones, what do you think of? Satisfaction. Mm-hmm. That's going to be the song that's always connected to them. I think My Generation for The Who. I think I Want to Hold Your Hand for the Beatles.
Yeah.
School's Out will always be Alice Cooper's.
Yeah, timeless.
And we'll sing along with you October 1st. We're talking with Alice Cooper. Now, Alice, my first concert, I was 9 years old. Now, it wasn't you, but my dad, who was also born in Detroit, took me to see Kiss. So my very first concert experience as a kid was this theatrical, bombastic event with men with makeup on. So
yes.
I'm wondering, how do you wind up with Ace of Kiss on this tour with you?
It's funny, Kiss were all friends of ours. We told Kiss where to buy their makeup.
Ah!
They didn't come as a surprise to us, They were called Wicked Lester before that. And so when Kiss came along, they kind of asked me what I thought of it, because everybody thought there was going to be some kind of a conflict. And I said, all this band needs is a gimmick.
Yeah.
I feel like Alice Cooper could date Wicked Lester. They sound like a happy couple.
Wicked
Yeah,
Lester!
that does sound like, they should be going out together.
Oh, man, Wicked Lester sounds creepy.
No, here's the funny thing. That when we did the makeup, and the thing that made Alice viable was the fact that we did the makeup, we did the theatrics, we were very notorious. People were very, very worried about who we were, but we had hit records. And that was something that was unique to the Alice Cooper show. This band, with all this notoriety, had a bunch of hit records in a row. So what that did was that opened the door for the Bowies and the Kiss, all the bands that just wanted to be theatrical and kind of held it back because they were afraid they would never have a hit record. So we opened that door, and even Elton went from being Elton to this glamorous Elton John on stage. I think everybody had that in them. They just were afraid to let it out.
Let that spectacle shine, man.
I never looked at Kiss as being a competition. They didn't do the same kind of show. They just already had the idea of the kabuki makeup, which was totally different than Alice Cooper. They were more like comic book characters, whereas Alice Cooper was sort of the Phantom of the Opera. So to me, I never saw a conflict, and certainly there was no conflict between us as friends.
That's cool. Hey, Alice, I have a Kiss question for you. Can you settle a bet?
No.
Can you settle a bet for us? How do you correctly pronounce Ace's last name?
I say Frehley.
Okay.
Okay, because I've
Is
heard.
it Frehley?
Yeah, that's what exactly. That's
don't
what
know.
I'm asking you. You know him.
Well, I've never called him by his last name. I just go Ace.
It's not like you're going to call him by his full name.
Yeah,
Hello,
you're-
Ace Frehley.
Yeah. Hello, Mr. Frehley.
Yeah.
All right, then we
I
still
said
don't
that,
know.
it's
I
Ace.
just want to say it correctly.
Flip a coin. It's fine.
Yeah, I think it's Ace Frehley,
Okay.
And
but
that's
it could be Frehley.
when you're here in October, we'll see what we can find out for you.
Thank you very much. It's gonna be a fun tour. Ace is playing as good as he's ever played, so I mean, he's gonna be fun to work with.
Is there any chance that there's a possibility that you and Ace would perform Detroit Rock City together?
I don't know if we would do Detroit Rock City, but there's a very great possibility of him coming up for Schools Out, because I think usually our opening acts end up on stage on Schools Out because it's sort of a finale for the whole night.
Cool. There is no way, though, that we can have a conversation with you and, of course, talk about music and welcome you back to Milwaukee. But I always have to ask a golf question. So when you're here, is there a favorite golf course you like in Wisconsin?
Well, we've gone up to Kohler.
Beautiful.
Whistling Straits is. I like Blue Mound, and I like Black Wolf Run. But if you have a chance to play Whistling Straits, that's the one you want to play.
And what's your handicap these days?
I am now playing to a 2.
I have no idea what any of that means right now. I'm just an innocent bystander.
Congratulations.
In fact, for some crazy reason, I've had about 9 rounds this summer under par. So I'm playing really well right now.
Like, how is golfing different than being a musician? Do the physics and the physicality of golfing use a different part of your brain than writing music or making a theatrical experience?
When I'm playing golf, I have absolutely not one thought about Alice Cooper.
Yes, that's what I figured. Refresh, right?
When Alice Cooper's on stage, Alice hates golf.
Yeah.
The character does. If you put golf clubs on stage, Alice would look at them as weapons.
I was going to say.
I would say he'd bludgeon someone with them. Yeah.
He wouldn't think about what he shot that morning. First of all, he doesn't play golf. I play golf.
I'll never think of golf the same.
It's tough to swing in a straitjacket.
Yeah, that would be a trick.
We are so glad you're back on tour. We look forward to seeing you October 1st at the BMO Harris Pavilion here in Milwaukee.
Yep. See you soon, Alice. Thank you.
I'll see you guys backstage then, right? You're going to come backstage and say hi.
If you're inviting us, we will be there.